Now, our societies are having people who care for other people's mental health. Like we've seen the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taking care of his companions. Communities, societies have people like counselors, professional therapists, or like the Muslim communities have the imams. Being in position that they are protecting the mental health of others, they are coming in to preserve other people's mental health, not for it to be corrupted. But have we ever asked ourselves who takes care of the caregivers? Because it is important for us to know that even the caregivers sometimes need help. Because when they are always bombarded with our mental health issues, the trauma we are going through, the family conflicts and distress that is happening,
It can't be the same.
it can you don't remain the same, obviously. So now the question is, who is there as the source of support of the caregiver, the caretaker himself? Yes, we've seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed people in the life of the Prophet as the ultimate caregiver in humanity. He gave him companions who would stand up for him, rise up to the occasion, who would, even when he failed on the law, they would come out and encourage him to rise up to the occasion. Even when the wives wanted to pull him towards themselves, Allah put them to check, for them to know that you are supposed to be protecting this man's mental health. You are not supposed to be again affecting his mental health. But when we turn the cameras onto ourselves, who is really paying attention to the compassion fatigue they're going through, the burnout that they're going through? Sometimes they are bombarded with thoughts, sometimes in extreme cases, nightmares. Then who takes care of them in this way? Sometimes we look at the caretakers in the way that so long as they fulfill our need, there's nothing much we can do. I don't care about what you're going through. I just care about you solving my issue and telling me what I can do with that.
It's actually tasking us to pay close attention to people who are receiving our burdens. Yeah, because if I march to a counselor, to the imam, and I open up to them in any way, by all means, they are going to be affected mentally at one point.
In the long run,
Talk about the compassion fatigue.
Compassion fatigue.
Talk about the stigma that comes with that. Maybe you're going to open up something that is just too outrageous, something that is too scary, something that is too...
Some of them become hyper vigilant, that even something small can disturb
trust issues, just because no one is there to take care of them. And I think just because this is something that is not discussed enough, given enough oxygen, they end up being mentally ill, and then the society is not going to be rightly guided.
Of course, if the mental health of the society is dependent on the mental health of the caregivers, the caretakers,
then the caretaker's
of course,
mental health.
Then the mental health of the caretaker is even more important. Because if it is not in place, it means everyone else is not in place. That is why, as the ultimate wisdom is with Allah, walillahi al-mathalul a'la. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was holding the position of preserving everyone else's mental health. As the teacher, as the mentor. So anything that would perturb his mental health, Allah was going to put that in check. Because the mental health of this guy has to be put in the right position. That is why even when you lose your spouse, even when you lose your father, inna ma'al usri yusra, even when you think Allah has forsaken you, ma wadda'aka rabbuka wa ma qala, always looking here and there to see that the mental health of the Prophet is in place.
And actually, I think this actually goes within the ethics of people taking up these responsibilities. Imagine marching to the imam and imam loses it emotionally as you're trying to open up. It wouldn't leave you the same. Imagine opening up to a counselor, maybe a religious leader, and then out of the blue they turn out judging you directly. It wouldn't leave you the same. And this would denote how unhealthy they are mentally. And if we are tasking ourselves to discuss who is taking care of these caretakers?
First of all, I would think there are supposed to be measures for the caretakers to put in place for them to see that their mental health is preserved. And I think we are going to discuss that later. But let me talk about ourselves first. what have we done for the caretakers? I think for the bare minimum, the first thing we need to do is at least to see that we do something for the caretakers. I would say maybe let it be in terms of facilitation, moral support. At least for the bare minimum, let it be courtesy. At least smiling at them, saying a good morning, saying good afternoon, having an introductory conversation that is going to put them in shape. But some people even were negligent to the point that they used to come to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they're like, Ya Muhammad, ukhruj alayna. Oh Muhammad, come out to us. We have a concern here. You look at that moment that so Allah comes to the rescue. And in most cases, the caretakers, the caregivers, are not going to mention this. They won't tell you. But just like the Prophet was quiet, was it bothering him? Yes. Because Allah comes to his rescue. Allah wouldn't come to the rescue of something that wasn't bothering the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But out of his morality, he wouldn't tell them, please don't call me Muhammad, you are supposed to call me Rasulullah.
So what we are basically getting to is, let the community welcome what is being done by their caretakers, by at least throwing some respect to it,
courtesy,
and not taking it for granted.
People come to Yusuf, the two young men in prison, and they are like, tell us,
Inna naraka min al-muhsinin.
We see among the muhsinin.
But you're here with us.
You're here with us. They never asked about how did you end up here. The Quran doesn't talk about any other thing they want from Yusuf. All they want is Yusuf solved
the service from Yusuf. So it minimally means that we are supposed to also prioritize what they are going through. So it actually opens up a door where some caretakers are also sensitive to who to open up to. So it means we are supposed to create that avenue for our caretakers. Sometimes what is the problem with you giving some facilitation to your caretaker, to your imam maybe, to your counselor, to your therapist? I really think this is something serious, because our society today might have been forced into the way of thinking where such caretakers are not actually well facilitated for what they are doing. It is being taken for granted, and that has put our society at stake, because even whoever is doing what they are doing, they are not investing a lot into doing it right. Because they are not well facilitated.
So if we focus on assisting them, because like we said, we are going to discuss what they're supposed to do for themselves. We are supposed to also discuss what is on us. Maybe we shall tell them what they're supposed to be doing with themselves. Don't you think it is important for us, as the people receiving this service, whether it is coming from a competent background or not, we are receiving, and somehow we find a piece of calm from what they are telling us, whether they are competent or not. What is wrong with taking them for a dinner once in a while? What is wrong with visiting them in their homes and playing around with their kids, showing them that there is support behind you? We are behind you. We support
there is value for what you're doing.
There is value in what you're doing. Or maybe in some more reasonable cases, that they are put on a payroll. That thank you for being there for my family, and I'm always, there is a stipend for them to see them moving around, because we looked at lack of support and resources as a cause of mental illness. Because when look at our our circumstance here, the very imam we want to pay attention to our mental health issues and situations is the very imam who is employed somewhere. And now at the same time he is battling with seeing his financial needs met, but at the same time he needs to look at how the mental health of his followers is met. So in other words, there is always going to be a compromise.
I really think all communities are supposed to prioritize this position. If it is the imam in the community, in this case within the Muslim fraternity, they need to at least prepare for that. When the setting in a community, they're having a mosque, there must be the imam well facilitated on payroll to make sure he's doing what he knows what to do best, Islamic founded, rightly and in the best way.
Now that calls for what is the imam supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
Which calls for competence. Because
equip yourself with the
right now, someone just skips high school, he's given an imamship position somewhere. The question is, how equipped is he with receiving the news of mental health from all of you? He's bombarded with information that is tens of years over his age. So now when when someone who has just completed high school is the imam somewhere, but he's receiving news about a divorce wrangle,
chances are high that it's going to affect them.
It's going to affect him, and I would say he might not be competent enough.
And this is evident because our society, the social pressure here is when someone knows something about religion at the young age, the responsibility is just
given to them, because maybe they recite Quran beautifully.
But then there are some other factors that are supposed to be
put in place
to make sure you're at least competent.
And I think I would advocate for every imam and every religious leader somewhere to be equipped with the study of psychology
to understand people's reasoning, thinking, behavior, and so on, to make sure they embed that with the Quran and Sunnah and be more productful to
maybe
whoever is doing that.
On top of that too, maybe when you put in the point of peer support groups among the imams themselves and the caretakers.
Yeah, it is a point where the imams need to get workshops together,
to discuss issues together, to see how they go through the matters they are going through, because it is not becoming for an imam again to rush to the people.
You're killing
you're killing the confidence that is there. In other words, they need to build their own peer groups. Maybe an imam would be afraid to talk to the ma'mum about what is going on
with the fellow imam,
but with the fellow imam it would be okay. So they need to create those peer support groups. Not putting out self-awareness. You need to know that maybe I'm not the right person for this. Maybe I am good in giving darsus here and there. I'm good in leading prayers.
But I'm
not good with dealing with mental health. And maybe let the community around you find a person specific.
So basically, being an imam, it's okay to be the imam who can't do that, but can refer to someone better.
You can refer to someone better. When a case comes your way, you are free to say, please, no, I'm not well equipped with this. I'm not good at it, but I know someone else who is better at this.
And I think leading by example can also work. Leading by example can also be something nice.
Knowing that the advice I'm giving people, maybe someone has deepened in the addiction they are having. Let's again not find you going contrary to what you're saying. Maybe you're telling them to abstain, and then you are not controllable when it comes to that aspect. You're telling someone to stay away from alcohol, then you are addicted to cigarette. It is not becoming, because the advice you're giving is not in line with what you're doing yourself. And
it's actually going to develop to affect your work.
It affects your work and the effectiveness of what it does behind the scenes. Doesn't Allah question lima taquluna ma la taf'alun? You say what you do not do. If those things are not together, it means there is a big dent in what you're doing.
So basically, if you're a caretaker, equip yourself with the right kind of knowledge to make sure you execute what you're doing better. And if you're someone who is going to get to the caretaker, prioritize minding their mental health too, and prioritize facilitating them.
The minimum you can do for them is courtesy.
Courtesy.
Don't just bump into your issues without even saying hello, greeting them. You see, I found something beautiful, that even going to a restaurant and talking to a waiter, how are you? What is your name?
Taking interest in that.
That alone makes them love their duty.
There is power in that.
There is power in that. Just asking someone their name, how they are. But some of us, you just go to a restaurant, so long as you make the order, if it is 2 minutes late, you rush to internet to review 2 stars, 1 star, and complain about how they are not competent. And I would say, let us please revise that.
May Allah see us through that.
We take a leading role in making sure that the mental health of the caretakers is also taken care of.
So be it.